Yes, it is I, your humble host, Bill Hatch III, coming to you live from the palatial home studios of Bald Spots Productions here in the beautiful city of Santa Ana, California. Joining me in studio, as per the usual, is my friend, my brother in Christ, the disembodied voice of Rudy.
Hi, everybody, I love you all. Waka waka with the Lord.
And joining us from more than acceptable safe social distances through the miracle of telephony are my guests for today, Bracha Goetz and Tony Jeton Selimi. How you doing?
Great.
Now, Tony, I know you're in jolly old England, but
Yes.
Bracha, where are you calling from?
I'm in Israel.
Israel.
Oh, wow.
So that would, I believe, make you the farthest from me as on a straight line.
Yep.
Yep, and definitely the biggest time difference. Sorry, Tony, you missed it by a few hours. So, Bracha, you're a children's book author?
Yep.
You've written 42 books?
Yep.
Wow.
41 children's books
Uh-huh.
and one memoir for adults.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so 42 books in total. That's a lot of books.
Yep.
Tony, you got some work to do.
Yes, absolutely. Impressive.
And Tony, you are a life and business strategy coach, and you help a lot of people. You've helped a lot of people become better than what they were. But you've written some
yes,
books
I'm
too.
in the business of making people experience miracles of life.
Yes, for sure. And so yeah. Wow, where to get started? Well, how about ladies first? Bracha, how did you get into writing children's books?
I try to write the books that I wished I had as a child. That's I like spent a lot of years searching for the purpose to life, you know?
Mhm.
So I try to give it to children early on so they can have the tools to live a joyful life. That's my goal.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to hear about the miracles that Tony has performed. I want to hear about that.
Absolutely. Let's see, Tony, on your website, you describe yourself as a coach, mentor, and healer. Now, how do you see these roles intersecting, and what does it take to be effective in all three areas?
I think the greatest thing to be effective in all these three areas is actually having a deep understanding of science and spirituality, and then merge spirituality and science together to help the person go through the process required for them to pretty much heal their life, transform their life, and as beautifully Bracha said it, to bring joy in every person's life. Because, I see people so stressed out, frustrated, experiencing depression, anxiety, feeling stuck, and trying to make a living, but at the same time, they lose the essence of who they are and the kind of purpose and prosperity and philanthropic vision that they can leave behind.
Okay.
Did you put
ahead.
us together? Did you put us all together because of spirituality? I mean, we all have this in common. I'm just wondering, had this happen?
That's the miracle of this show, I think. Not even this episode in particular. My guests book themselves without knowing who the other person is going to be on the episode. And they match up with whomever they match up with, and sometimes it just works really well. Yeah, I've had some really interesting connections made with people who have similar backgrounds and people who have very dissimilar backgrounds. I even had one episode where two men named Richard were on the show at the same time. So yeah, there's no telling who took control of the schedules to make this
Yeah,
all
yeah, right.
align.
We know who took control.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait, can you share some of the miracles? That's what I want to hear about, the miracles. Yeah. Share some.
Bracha, I mean, where do I start? So, I was born in Northern Macedonia. So it's sort of, I grew up in a very Sufi family, but also in a communist country where things weren't as nice as they are now, 40 years down the line. But I experienced abuse, mental, emotional, physical abuse, and also I ended up being ill. And, my parents took me to hospital and, they told them I will die. They took me back to the same spiritual teacher my parents, followed, who told them that I'm going to end up being a masterful healer going around the world doing incredible work. And he said, well, your prophecy is dead because he's dying. And he took me on board. And 6 months down the line, I started getting better. He started teaching me a lot of techniques. And he, sort of from there on, I always had this curiosity about understanding the unseen and how to make that unseen for the greater good of humanity. And then how to, bridge this gap between spirituality and science, between business and spirituality, between relationships and spirituality, and truly help people transform inside out while they allow for their spirit to be the highest expression of itself.
Wow. Wow. So, I mean, that happened to you. That's the transformation you went through. And now you help other people go through that.
Yes, I mean, I spent for the last 30 years, Bracha, traveling around the world. I work with a lot of business owners, leaders, celebrities, influencers, scientists, coaches, authors, people from all walks of life, frankly, for different reasons, because the methodologies I've developed pretty much can unlock that potential that the person who's seeking my help truly knows inside that it exists, but they don't know how to channel that outwardly and how to set up everything for them to be able to bring their work, their abilities to massive people. But, I've helped a lot of people overcome health issues. I've worked with people with cancer. I worked with people with serious issues to help them really work, both transforming their psychology, but also doing hands-on healing, because I'm a Reiki master for the last 30 years. And also many other different healing modalities. And then I channeled and created my own healing modalities. And pretty much I combine my work. My work is pretty much science and holistic approach, both to business coaching and personal coaching and relationships. So, Bill doesn't know this, but I just published my latest book, A Path to Excellence, which pretty much you'll find a lot of things about spirituality in there, because the main drive, the main image in here is the infinity sign. And also the two small images, it's the brain and the heart.
Wow, beautiful. Beautiful cover. The cover says so much. That's great.
What did you get, by the way, Bracha, from the cover? What are you sensing?
Well, what I love is what you just explained. I wouldn't have gotten the infinity until you told me that, though. Yeah. But I love the variety of colors. Of course, I love that the connection between the brain and the heart. That's so powerful. It's like a really powerful cover. I love it.
Yes, I mean, basically, I've channeled, because in every book that I've written, I create unique methodologies that pretty much unlock the intelligence within the person. And this one is about whatever you do it with excellence leading the way, but also offering people an 8-step process through which they can go through the various life cycles and going through like different transitions that we go through life. And then all the things that we need to regenerate in our life, both inside and outside. And then finding what is the true focus of your soul's purpose in this life and how that gets evolved. and then taking them through the process of rebirth. Because, every time something happens to us, we go through that rebirth and the death of the old self and rebirth of a brand new authentic self. So the more sort of things you overcome and you start to integrate that into your psychology, the more you'll experience more powerful rebirths. And then how do you maintain the balance between the internal and the outer reality? And what does the information from within tells you about your outer reality, and how to use that as a biofeedback for you to transform your life? And then taking them to actually understand what is the service, the highest service you want to bring into this world. And then how do you unify your brain? And how do you become one with everyone around you, with nature, and how to embody oneness? And then going into the infinity of your divinity.
Awesome. Awesome. Bill Hatch, are you also into all this, into spirituality like this?
I
Yeah.
am in different ways. But yes, I definitely believe in the spiritual realm. I am a professing Christian. I'm what the military refers to as mainline Protestant. I grew up a military brat, and that's basically where they lump all us middle of the road people into. But yeah, I do believe in the interconnectedness of life. And I tend to go for groups of 3. That seems to always be where things come back to for me, the number of perfection. And for
what else 3 represents, Bill?
Yes.
Past, present, and future.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. My first run into it was actually when going into, well, not my first then, but as far as a professional look at it, it was looking at the environment, social justice, and business, and seeing the potential for interconnectedness between those 3 areas, which seems so different. And like you have to give up one to get one of the others, but really looking at it on a deeper level and with some more creativity, I found a lot of connections that go through, that allow each to bring out the strengths in the others.
Yes. So wait, Tony, are you Muslim?
I'm pretty much a mixture of both, Catholic and Muslim.
Because this is like a joke right now. We have a joke here. I mean, the 3 of us walk into a bar. Look at this. We have Muslim, Christian, Jew. I mean, this is hysterical. I can't believe it. How often does this happen,
Yeah, well, this is the first. This is the first for me.
Well, I mean, for me, first and foremost, Bracha, it's I'm a student of life and teacher of life.
Yeah.
Everything else comes second, third, and I study, and then I use what I learn to help people, and that both goes different philosophies, different schools of thought, different religions, and psychology, spirituality, business, leadership, wealth building, and because I believe every human being is part of the same creation. The labeling behind that, it's just something we've been told by others, but for me, it's that intelligence that runs through all of us beyond the labels that we give ourselves.
Exactly. That's what's so awesome, because we're all speaking the same language. We're all here for that same purpose of connection with the divine, of the source of energy that runs through everything. We are all in the same mindset about that, and that's why the labels can fade away. But it's fascinating that we are coming in. We're in these 3 separate boxes, but yet we're connecting through them, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So when was the first time, Bracha, when you published your first book?
When my children were little, I was sitting outside in Israel, and I had a chance to write down my thoughts in a notebook. I put them in an envelope, hand wrote it, put it in an envelope, and I mailed it to the United States. And 6 weeks later, I got back a letter that my book was accepted. So that was the beginning. And I realized this is how I can write children's books. So now, I have grandchildren, so I've been writing for a long time.
What a gift. What a gift.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is a gift. It really is a gift. And like you said, I found what lets my soul shine in this world. And it's what helps all of us. Helping other souls to shine helps our soul to shine. And I find what I love to do is find the essence of life and take complex subjects or deep subjects and express them in the most simple and joyful way possible so that a child can understand the deepest things in life. So that's what I love to do.
That's incredible, because one of the way I write my books, Bracha, is being able to one day also transform them into children's books, because
Wonderful.
the methodologies that I've created, when we look at the schooling system that we have globally in different countries, by the way, it's very old-fashioned, and the science has moved so much. Our knowledge about spirituality, about psychology, about neuroscience has gone farther than where it was 200, 300 years ago. And a lot of people are still learning old methodologies that were set up 300 years ago, 400 years ago. So, today's world needs a whole new upgraded psychology, because we're moving into a world where artificial intelligence and human intelligence will start to coexist. And therefore, children and also adults and entrepreneurs and business owners, I did a TED talk, which has gone over 1 million views now, about artificial intelligence. And in there, I'm saying that the life as we know it, it's gone. We're entering into a whole new era. And for that, I think the world is not ready. Parents are not ready. Children are not ready. Schools are not ready. The businesses are not ready. So for me, it's as Bill probably knows, I spent the last 2 months working with clients in Dubai, Singapore, Maldives, London, New York. I was in Barbados, and the training that I do is pretty much to help the people who have a massive influence to bring more work that is transformational out there. So whether it's in their offices, whether it's in their businesses, whether it's across cultures, whether it's in the environment, whether I'm working with the government leaders. But, I think humanity is ready for a massive upgrade.
Yes.
Wow. It's funny that you mention your TED Talk on AI. My latest project is actually bringing artificial intelligence into business as in a couple of different ways, but one of the main ones is through an online business set of business tools rather, that that we're bringing to entrepreneurs, yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's brought some new challenges, and we're actually we've technically already launched, although we kind of launched before things were perfect. But what you gonna do? It's never gonna be
yes,
perfect.
I mean, it's a lot of people are not educated into the potential of AI.
Mm-hmm.
And also because of that, I think there'll be a lot of challenges for many people, Bill. It's fine when you have some kind of, tech background and you pretty much experiment. But, we're looking at, in England, a lot of the companies have actually, made so many redundancies, and it will happen across America. And people, entrepreneurs are great, because we go into ideas, we go and explore, we learn, we grow, we overcome challenges, and we solve problems. But a lot of people in the day-to-day thing, they'll find it very difficult to transition into this new, upgraded artificial intelligence era.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a large market for people who can help those people come into the new age. And
yes.
because I feel that when technology replaces a person, it's generally going to be in the low-level jobs, the jobs that don't give a lot of fulfillment or a lot of potential for growth. And
Yes.
and so when those jobs like say well, here in America we've started getting self-checkout is a big thing now, and growing. And I had one friend who she refused to ever go through a self-checkout because she didn't want a cashier to lose their job. And I can't wait to use the self-checkout because I want those cashiers to go on to do bigger and better things. And
Yes.
and if
Here
they
in
have to be
UK, we have
forced to it,
Amazon launched a store, full supermarket store, where basically you set up the account and you just walk in, take what you want, and walk out. You don't even have to do anything.
Wow.
It's got sensors that senses every centimeter of the entire store, including every product. And basically, when the product comes with you, automatically, as you leave the door, it balances how many items you took away from the store and charges you automatically to your bank.
Huh.
Wow.
That's something.
But I think have you watched my TED Talk?
No, I haven't had the opportunity yet.
Because my TED Talk has the two sides, the warning side of it, that what AI can do, I would say negatively to humanity and to the essence of the sanctity of human life, and also the possibility that it offers. And we are reaching now that point where at some point it used to be a science fiction, but no longer, where AI intelligence is much better than the human intelligence. And, that's all well if the designers of AI are conscious, loving, kind people. But in there, I pose the question, what if they're not? And because currently around the planet, we have so many issues, so many problems, so many disagreements, so many country-to-country problems. We have wars. Now, every country designing a very powerful technology, we may go into technological Armageddon. And that's what the TED Talk is about, where basically, you get the most powerful technology being designed in people's homes with no regulations and with no common goal for AI.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, we do have to remember that that when you tell a computer or robot or android as far forward as you want to go, accomplish this task. Well, if that's all they know, then they are going to do whatever it takes to accomplish that task, even if it means destroying human life in whatever extent.
That's why I would suggest you listen to Technological Armageddon, a wake-up call. That's the name of you can find it both on TED platform and also on TEDx platform. Because TED picked it up as a key, and basically it's been taken. A lot of people now are sharing it because although I did the talk 6 years ago, I actually warned humanity of what happened right now 6 years ago.
Amazing. 6 years ago. I can't get over that. Wow.
I get visions, Bracha. I get visions about certain things, and usually also it's about clients. When somebody decides to work with me without even knowing the client, I'll get intuitive visions about what's happening, but also what's happening at a humanity level.
Yes, exactly. Because it's like people, the world will be in the hands of the programmers of A1. But we really don't have to worry, even though it looks like that. It's a unification where there could be a solidification of control, but we really don't have to worry because the divine source, I mean, in the eyes of the divine source, it's like a piece of dust. You know what I'm saying? I
mean, people in Ukraine wouldn't agree with you, Bracha.
What I mean is, like, things that look so scary when the conglomerates come together and get more and more powerful and one world government and all that, it can seem so frightening. but there's really nothing to fear. Because again, it's like a little puff of smoke. It's nothing when you compare it to the infinity, the everything that exists. I mean,
when you compare our machinations to the divine, then we are as
exactly,
nothing. But,
exactly.
a
A lot of fear.
My little the little piece of dirt I am, though, is certainly concerned about the evil that men do.
Right. But see, we don't have to fear. We can move forward with joy to just make this world a better place.
Yeah.
It's the fear that brings us down and freezes us, actually. But it's with joy that we can accomplish more and bring unity on earth, and then not be worried about all these wars and that could take place with that type of consolidation of power. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think I understand. Yeah, I've said before that you can't both worry and act at the same time.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think it becomes truer every day.
Yes. So I think that's what we're all trying to do. Spread the joy, the openness, but like you're saying, still have the awareness of the dangers, which is important, but not get frozen by the fear.
Yes, focus on the positive outcome.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But be aware.
Yes. Very important.
So where in Israel are you, Bracha?
I'm in a city called Beitar, which is near Jerusalem.
Okay, I've been to Jerusalem and I've been to Tel Aviv, and I've been down to Haifa and the Red Sea.
Wonderful. It's amazing. I mean, this is a spiritual vortex. I think everybody that's been here can experience that. Bill Hatch, have you been here?
I have not. Actually, the farthest east I've been is the east coast of the United States.
Yeah.
I've been to the west though. I've gone I've gone west to the Far East. I've been to Japan, Korea, China,
Wow.
and the Philippines.
In the military?
Well, some of it as a military brat. I was never in the military myself. My father was a military chaplain. First in the Navy, then in the Marines, and then in the Army.
Wow.
Yeah,
amazing.
He retired a few years ago from the Veterans Administration. He was a hospital chaplain.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was. It's a remarkable experience to be able to get to see more of the world. I think it really can change one's point of view. When one is stuck in a particular place, you get your mind is small. Your mind becomes smaller. And
yes.
I think travel is definitely a great way to expand one's mind. And if travel is not in the cards, because sometimes it can be expensive, certainly picking up a good book from a far-flung part of the world
so true
can certainly help.
Yes.
I mean, it takes you all those stories that people write from all over the world.
Yes. And this too has been a big change. It's been transformational in my life to be on shows like this and meet with people in this very direct way and learn about other people's lives that I would never meet. I love this. I think this is one of the greatest things in technology that's happened, It's just phenomenal for me. It's like, and we talk like we don't like just make small talk. We talk about like the deepest stuff. So, and you can connect like this across the world. Unbelievable.
Yep. Yep.
Yes,
And
the connection. It's exactly that.
it's amazing that that something like this has really come about in many ways as a result of the pandemic. You know, people were forced to stay at home, but they couldn't help but reach out to others, and they found ways. And
Great
I
point.
found more and more people have gotten used to this way of meeting other people, and it's definitely a fascinating and wonderful thing.
Yes. So, what are your thoughts, Tony, on the pandemic? What do you think this was all about?
I think it stirred things a bit. So for
It's
people
what?
to wake up, it stirred
Yep.
things a bit for people to wake up. So
Yes.
I think with everything in life, there is the drawbacks and the benefits. So I think, it's the pandemic pretty much shook humanity
Yes.
to be able to, step up or step out, frankly.
Yes.
So, it's if you look, it's not the only thing that happened in human history. We've had many pandemics before, but this time around, we have science, we have doctors, we have hospitals, we have, medications, we have people who worked 24 hours to come up with, vaccinations. So, we are fortunate on many ways. And also, we had resources to maintain a lot of things. Yes, for sure, there were problems, but there were a lot of wonderful solutions that came up, and it changed the way we live our lives. And I think it did a reset for people when it comes to work-life balance. It made it normalized it for you to go on Zoom like this and being dressed up in your pajamas and still talk to your work colleagues. And while your dog is barking or your children are screaming, you can still work from home and nobody telling you, oh, you need to dress up. So I think it's done a lot of positive things to humanity. And also it made us more aware that we need to be prepared for anything that may happen. And,
Yes.
there was a lot of innovation. There was happening. A lot of businesses grew. A lot of course, some businesses closed down. A lot of people lost their jobs. Industries went down, but, there are a lot of opportunities out there. And for me, I didn't stop throughout COVID. I worked because, I help people innovate new products, new services. Some of my clients that, they had stores. I helped them go fully digital and been able still to deliver things. Some of my clients were restaurants. The renting here is very expensive. So I help about 10 restaurants turn into takeaway, and creating their apps, creating their database of client services, marketing. So therefore, they made more money through COVID by takeaways than having a restaurant with a lot of expenses to maintain. So
Yes.
things can be transformed, and if people are willing to adapt, and if people plan in advance for disaster. And most people don't plan for that. And for me, having a tech background and somebody who was in charge of billion-pound technology programs, disaster recovery was my area of expertise as well. So for me, when COVID happened as a business owner, I very quickly switched into digital and then very quickly turned my session into Zoom. So we had all those tools already available, but most people did not even have the technology behind to be able to switch very quickly. So for me, I think it's, it was an interesting stuff. I lost family and friends during COVID. My partner is a heart surgeon. He worked in hospital. I coach and mentor a lot of doctors, and I work with a lot of healthcare professionals, scientists. So, I was pretty much involved with the seeing up and close and personal the dangers behind that. Mm-hmm. So it was a turbulent time for sure, but also, I felt even of a greater service to so many people.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. Before the pandemic, I was planning on doing this show, and I was working toward it, experimenting with different formats and whatnot. But I was planning on having people over here to be in a studio setting, with everybody sitting on the couches, enjoying beverages and having a good time together. And but then the pandemic happened, and so it was, okay, how do we make something like this happen and it's become not just a question of local people, but global people. And so the scope of the show has changed and grown. It's just amazing how it's affected everything.
Exactly. Yeah, I was on a show the other day. It was a show of a certain kind of addicts, and I was saying that the pandemic was a huge push forward spiritually. We all became, or we had the potential to become more grateful people as we realized that we could lose everything in a minute. All of a sudden, overnight, everybody's life changed. And it got us to stop taking things for granted that we were all taking for granted,
Yeah.
And so the people in this group, they said, but it actually brought us down so much because all of us as addicts got more involved in our addictions during the pandemic. It was the time when that's what was happening. And it was interesting because that is true. I mean, they called it the poundemic. People gained a lot of weight. People got into whatever addiction they were already involved with. They got more into it. But there was the potential for the opposite, and I realized, at every moment a person has that choice. That is what a spiritual opportunity is, to go one way or another. So it's giving us that opportunity it gave us that opportunity in a massive kind of way. And I always feel that people with addictions, I mean, myself included, are people where their soul is even more sensitive than most, and that's why they experience the pain more and they react to it more. And they're looking for lasting pleasure in a more intense way. So I think I want to ask you, if you don't mind, I want to ask Tony, like, what is the way that you work with addicts to help them recover?
There's a different form of addicts, Bracha, and usually it's, my work is so specialized because as a human behavior specialist, I looked at the exactly psychology that leads to addiction. And I've developed methodologies that pretty much demystify the circumstances in which the perceptual imbalances that happen in the brain when an event happens that lead to addiction.
Oh, I see.
So, it's when you look at the brain, every single perception in our brain would be skewed.
Yes.
And also majority of people that have worked with overcoming addiction, whether it's through drugs, like for instance, heavy drugs such as cocaine and methadone, and also medical drugs, because they both can be addictive, by the way, but also with alcohol, with smoking, with shopping, with sexual addictions. I've had, some weird addiction, frankly, but also on top of with work, I've worked with people with OCD and ADHD. And through all of it, I've had consistent results because, brain is moldable. And when you have an environment, let's say as an addict, that you work with somebody who doesn't put perceptual filters in the space, but holds the space for transformation to happen, they feel love to be able to bring out everything that bothers them. And part of the healing process, because there's two things that I work with addicts. One is taking them through the methodology of balancing those skewed perceptions so they can become more integrated. And the other part is the hands-on healing and crystal light bed healing, which is unique. I've got a crystal light bed, and I do hands-on healing plus crystal light bed. So the incorporation that I've created is pretty much working with a human energy field. And I share this in my book, #Loneliness, the virus of modern age, because most people don't have the understanding that every single cell in our body has an energy. And that energy, when, again, going back into the brain, when the brain is totally polarized, the energy that we actually share into our environment is more negatively charged. So therefore, the first thing I do, first and foremost, I establish the kind of addiction that the person has, and then I take them through the processes on a weekly basis. With some people, they do my 5 or 10-day program, and it's a very intense program, which is almost like 10 hours of intense work and coaching, because depend how long the addiction has been in there. When the addiction is a long period of time, there's many things that needs to happen in the brain for the brain to come back into equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, sometimes people ask me, Tony, how long do I need to work with you? And I said, how far do you want me to take you?
Yes.
Because,
yes.
you know, I can take my
how
clients
much transformation? Yes.
Yes, I can take my clients to a whole different new level of awareness they never thought possible for them. So,
Right.
for instance, a guy that I have with addiction, I mean, he shares openly, and now he's become a mental health ambassador across the oil and gas industry in UK. You know, he came at the day when he wanted to commit suicide. He couldn't cope anymore.
Right. Right.
So I've dealt with a lot of people in a very vulnerable situations, but, you
Right.
know, my work is also extremely expensive. So therefore, you know, it's usually people who are already business owners, who already have some kind of wealth. And that's why I decided to, in fact, to write books, because for people who could not necessarily be able to work with me personally, because again, it's impossible for me to work with 8 billion people out there. They can actually have the tools so they can start the process themselves. And when they're ready to have an expert to work with them privately, they can reach out. And, you know,
Yes.
people go through from one teacher to another teacher, just the way the evolution is. So when
Yes.
people are ready for the experts, they come to me. When they're not, they
Yes.
go to somebody else. At least they do the work, continue to do the work. And, you know, the old saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So pretty much that's what I've been doing, Bracha, for since I left the tech world in 2012. For 11 years, I've been going around the world working with different people, different clients, different problems, pretty much solving my clients' problems. And, you know, it's I teach a program called Vital Planning, which is the 5 or 10 days. And pretty much it's about life empowerment, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, in your career, in your relationship, but also the social impact and what kind of philanthropy you want to leave behind. So it's a very, very advanced program. You know, my clients say, with Tony, you get PhD in 5 days.
Beautiful. Spreading light.
Tony, how would you say that support systems figure into long-term success for your programs?
Well, I think everything needs a support, by the way. You know, if you take a building, if the building doesn't have a support structure, a structure which has the foundation and is very strong, with a little earthquake, that building will collapse. And this is what we are observing right now in Turkey, for instance. Most of those buildings, they don't have the all the earthquake regulations when they built those buildings. So therefore, you could be buying an apartment without knowing that, you know, if a small earthquake happens, you're dead. You know, so many lives were lost. Similarly, in your own life, if you don't have that kind of support mechanism, sooner or later you'll break. And, you know, and that's why, you know, coaches, therapists, healers, mentors, leaders, you know, all of those people are around you. But also, I'm very careful who you bring in your space, because sometimes that support mechanism can actually destabilize your own foundation.
Yes.
Because we are human beings, you know, our energies travel without us even talking. So this is why I talk about in #loneliness, because, you know, you could go into an environment, whether you like it or not, that environment can impact your entire bioenergy field. You might be lucky to find somebody you get along and you have an incredible conversation, like the three of us, but unfortunately, you can't regulate that when you're in open space. And therefore, the reason I developed those methods for people to be able to be stable no matter what the environment.
Right.
So you build that mental resilience and emotional resilience and auric field where you pretty much can go everywhere, especially the people I work with, because, you know, they take care of other people. And, I have doctors, I have therapists who come to me because they feel at the end of the day, they're exhausted by working with clients, especially relationship coaches, people who hear problems. So I teach them tools to be able to fortify their field, but also being able to become great coaches and mentors and therapists and healers, so they don't get involved with the client's emotional heavy energy, but being
Yes.
able to pretty much radiate a very balanced energy that easily neutralizes no matter what energy comes towards you.
Yes, that's what divine energy does. I mean,
Absolutely, Bracha.
when you're flowing with it. This is why it's essential for you to write children's books, because the foundation is so important. Like you're saying, when we write children's books, we're engraving on the soul. It's a clean paper, and it makes an indelible mark. So that's what creates the support. It's essential for you to go in that way too, to fill children's lives with the spiritual support that they need from the beginning of life, so they understand this and they don't have to play catch up like the rest of us. They get it from the beginning.
Correct. I mean, you said it very beautiful, Bracha, because I believe in that. Because, I grew up in a society where you have no opportunities at all, especially if you are of a different creed,
Yes.
and where other people judge you for the creed, for the background. Back then in former Yugoslavia, religion wasn't even allowed, by the way. So it was
Yes.
something that you can only talk at home. You can't even talk outside about it. But we're observing so many inequalities, both from a children level, but also when it comes to masculine and feminine dynamics between women and men. Those cultures are pretty much backward thinking. But also as a gay man, coming out in a culture, I faced so many physical, mental, and emotional abuse just for being who I am. And I believe, children who learn spirituality and spiritual principles that I share, they're not going to be people who actually have anything against somebody who's different to them. In fact, they
That's
will
right.
celebrate the differences and learn from each other. And this is why I
Exactly.
believe, because my parents came from two different powerful religions, but they were spiritual people. They embraced spirituality, but also respected each other. And they learned about each other. And, they instilled in me from a very young age the importance education plays in bettering our life, bettering our society, bettering our connection with each other, bettering the experiences we create with one another. It's, if you see at that divinity point of view, and if the leaders around the world, because that's why I actually love working with more and more leaders, because, I wanted to bring this 20 years ago when I was working in technology, in business. I wanted spiritual principles, but everybody told me back then, you're far ahead of your time. Yes. But nowadays, we're seeing a whole shift of new companies, new leaders, that they want spiritually principles to help them be more mindful, more productive, more energized, more understanding, more collaborative, and all the things that the corporate world and the business actually can benefit from.
Yes.
From that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, while we got a natural stop, we're going to take a short break, not even 30 seconds, so I can run my commercial and justify the expense of running the show. So hold on. It won't even be 30 seconds, I promise.
Attention entrepreneurs! Automate You is the all-in-one platform that will give you the tools, support, and resources you need to succeed with your business. With our all-in-one marketing and sales platform, you will be able to keep your tools in one place while saving a fortune and streamline your entire delivery process so you can focus on keeping your clients happy. Get your 30-day free trial at automateyou.co. That's automateyou.co.
Okay, and we're back. I'll actually insert the commercial later in the post. See how easy that was? But yeah,
you're very
right.
Professional, Bill.
The getting people educated is so important. and not even about education in belief systems, but just raw facts. If you have more raw facts, then you can make better decisions because you've got so much more to draw from. And the education system here in the United States is not what it once was. It could certainly be better. California, especially, has had more than its fair share of problems. They keep trying to throw more money at it, but that doesn't seem to be helping.
Right. Right.
And what kinds of things you two feel people should be doing in education to help the children of the future, the children of the present, the adults of the future?
Bracha?
I want to say that the main thing is to recognize that we're spiritual beings, because it's not obvious. We were put in this world into physical bodies, but we're here to find all the spiritual sparks embedded in everything. We are here to really experience gratitude. That's really our purpose for being here. And we've gone so far off course. You know, we don't recognize the incredible garden that we're in anymore. You know, we're lost, and we need to help people find the way back to their real selves, like you're doing, your real self, the part of you that's your essence, your core, the part of you that never goes away, even when you get unplugged at the end of your life. That lives on. There's a spirit within all of us. So that's what people need to be taught from the very beginning. And, now, like, God has become like a word you're not allowed to talk about and things like that. So it's really interesting how things are shifting. And there's also so much confusion added to children's lives. So, yeah, we need to be able to make things to help bring clarity back into children's lives from the very beginning, so they know who they are and what their purpose is in life.
Very beautifully said. To add on, Bill, I think, one of the things that I've been involved since our last conversation, one is the book came out, Path to Excellence, and the other one, I got involved as an executive producer for a documentary called The Truth About Reading, which is pretty much eradicating illiteracy problem in America. And, it's unfortunate that in today's, that's not just in America, it's globally, frankly. We have children going through education system, yet remaining illiterate. And, we have so many models of teachings nowadays that, you can work with children from all sorts of walks life that they may be disadvantaged, or maybe they may have some form of brain problem when it comes to reading. But reading is essential for transforming education and also ensuring that today's children, especially what I love to do, is bring my methodologies and tools in a subject, self-help, from age 5. And start teaching from age 5 self-help tools. And part of that, for sure, Bracha, is spirituality. But being able to embed those principles, like, for instance, in the first book that I actually published, it's called A Path to Wisdom. And the actual methodology in there, it has 25 steps and principles. And the first one is the principle of present moment awareness. So anything you want to change in your life starts with that awareness. And today's children and globally, people have lost to be able to identify that.
Yes.
You mentioned we have this beautiful garden, but if the person is not aware that garden is beautiful, They're not going to
Exactly.
awaken to something greater than themselves, because the methodology has it's this acronym. It's ALARM, and it means acknowledge, love, achieve, result, create miracles. So when you truly go into that space of divinity, you can actually heal your entire body. You can create all sorts of
Yes.
miracles. You can attract
Yeah.
all sorts of opportunities. You can really transform yourself, transform your relationship, transform your environment, and create something for greater good. But,
Yes.
you know, if we don't have that awareness, no matter which part of the society, no matter what schools, you know, whatever people are taking on, there'll be no massive awakening to happen inside of them.
Yes.
They are asleep. And when you are asleep, you are in coma. And when you are in coma, you then end up being procrastinating. You end up being anxious. You end up being depressive. You end up being addictive. You end up being distractive, which means no matter what happens in the environment, you pretty much don't react. And, you know, you become dumb, frankly. And, you know, although I love technology, on the other hand, a lot of people have not been set up in a way to be able to continue their growth and still use technology. You know, I don't see many people reading books nowadays. And I think people would benefit, humanity would benefit, to pretty much introduce an hour reading in every school. Just something as simple as that. And, you know, we have wonderful books through history, and, you know, you have 2 authors in here. And, you know, if people were to read every single day an hour in every single school, no matter what level they are, the whole world will be a better place.
Yes, absolutely. What's the old saying? The one who does not read has no advantage over the one who cannot read. So, so yeah, you know, yeah, I had a conversation with another gentleman, a leadership coach, on the show the other day, named John Antal, and yeah, he talked about leadership abilities being like a glass that you fill up, and then, you know, with thoughts, and as you work through the day, then you slowly sip on those thoughts, and you have to keep refilling that glass, and one of the ways he promoted was definitely reading more, and of course he'd written a book too, but
Right.
but yeah,
whatever brings awareness.
yes, absolutely.
That's what we're working for. We're working for recognizing that we're all connected, and we're all connected to the same source of energy. This is, you know, it's E equals MC squared. It all comes down to that. I mean, this is it. We are all flowing with the same energy, and that's why teaching children this awareness as early as possible is what's so essential. And when it doesn't have to be, it could be in a book, it could be in an animation, it's however you reach the children, and when you reach them with the thing about a children's book is that every age reads it. The youngest child, the adults reading it, the elderly people reading it to the children, everybody is getting the messages. So it's just an awesome way to get the message out into the world and to integrate it into souls. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Let's see. And Bracha, your website is getzbookshop.com, GOETZ bookshop.com. So I'll make sure to have it in the description so people can find it easily. I know.
Yeah,
I know I couldn't figure out how to spell your name, how to say your name.
Spell my name, right? My children, it's my children's. They created the website. They created the whole thing because I'm a total idealist, you know, and I'm not into making money. That is not my thing. It doesn't interest me at all. So my children realized, you know, I'm just giving everything away for free. And so they started this business. That's basically what happened.
You started writing and they started the business.
Yeah, I work, I do everything. You know, I'm a consultant. I do all kinds of jobs. I do animations, I do the writing, and they're in charge of the business, which doesn't interest me one bit, right?
Bracha, I have a saying for you that I use with parents. Would you like to know what it is?
Sure.
What parents oppress, children express.
Parents oppress, children express. So they're doing what I couldn't do. Exactly. Exactly.
Both the good and the bad, by the way. The good and the bad.
Exactly right. My children, I feel like they're on my shoulders. You know, they couldn't get to where they're at unless I struggled to get to where I'm at. And now they could go way beyond. So,
Yes,
yeah.
and that's what the parents do, frankly. You know, sometimes when I do teaching with parents, when they have conflicts in the family and stuff like that, I take them into the garden, especially when I deal with parents, you know, conflicts and control and shouting and screaming and, you know, family dynamics. And I bring them to the tree and I said to them, okay, look at the tree. And they're looking at me and say, yes, I know it's a tree, it's in my garden. I said, the tree, I said, do you stay in front of the tree and tell the tree how to grow? And they're sitting there and they start laughing. And they said, okay, I get it, you know? And I said, you know, tree, all it needs, its environment, it needs the foundation, needs some nurturing, needs some water, but the tree grows itself with its own branches, with its own fruit, in its own intelligence. And similarly, the parent's job is to create that nurturing environment where the child can grow to their fullest potential with whatever intelligence and whatever love and service they have in this world for.
Beautiful. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm telling you, I don't know if this is, and this has been such an awesome experience for me. I can't tell you how much I've learned. I love this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Awesome.
Well, my
and
pleasure.
Thank you, Bracha, as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
And your team, and your guy over there in the background.
They're saying thank you to you too, Rudy.
Thank you.
One of these days, I'm going to get him plugged in so he can hear what's going on.
Sure, you can ask us questions.
The more the merrier.
Wow. So what's your website? Yeah, Tony.
Mine is, I have many websites, but the main website is tonyselimi.com, TonySelim for mother I.com. And Tony in Latin means priceless. My middle name, Jeton, in Albanian, because my background is Albanian, means to live your life. And Selimi, salam in Arabic, means peace. So to live your life in peace is priceless.
Beautiful. Woohoo!
Wow. That's a good one.
Beautiful.
And
Okay,
usually it's
okay, I'm going to tell you what my name means.
Oh, okay.
Bracha means blessing, and Goetz means spark. So,
oh, beautiful.
There we go. And how about you, Bill?
Well, my full name is William Arthur Hatch III. The third part's easy to figure out what that means, but
is that the English side of things?
Yes, very English. Yeah, I did my DNA testing, and turns out that almost all of my ancestry is right there in the intersection between England, Scotland, and Ireland.
Oh my God!
Yeah, but almost all.
Do you know mine? I have 4% Native American,
really?
which was a shock to my family, and 4% Italian. And the Native American, it comes somewhere like 12th century. And I don't know which grandparents from which side, whether they traveled to America, they traveled from America and here, obviously they did their business. And here I am, you know, hundreds of years later down the line. But it's actually, it's interesting to have 4% Native American. And
That's
when
amazing.
I used to travel and work in America, I always felt at home.
Wow. Wow.
But anyway, William is to protect, to defend. Arthur is an Old English word meaning a bear, I think, and then hatch is a gate in a dam.
Wow.
So it's
Wow.
the protective bear, and I'm not sure how to fit hatches. It's the damn door. Close the damn door.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's my meaning. Yeah, I've got a little bit that we can't quite explain. I've got a little German, which kind of makes some sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of German mixed in with the English, but there's a little African in there somewhere.
Oh
And,
my.
Wow.
not quite sure how that happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
But somebody at some point made a trip.
Very
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
I did the DNA test because I was speaking at an event, and the people who were doing it, they asked me if I would be their ambassador, and they said they'll, give me a free test and a few other benefits. And then I did, and I wanted to understand my ancestry, not just that, but also I wanted to understand the health side of it, whether it's any inherited diseases. And, because since I was a kid experiencing those issues when I was a child, I refused to believe any of my parents or family members. They would say, because my mom had a high blood pressure, I'll have the same. Because we have people with diabetes, I'll have diabetes, and all the illnesses in family. And I went like, you keep them. I don't need that transfer from you to me. And when I got the DNA test, I was right. From both my mom and my dad, we don't have any form of predisposition towards any illness. So our genes are very clean. So everything they have, it's a lifestyle and lifestyle choices they make.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I found out.
It was interesting to see.
Mine's very much in the same path. There's no genetic predisposition to anything that they said, and although they said apparently I run through caffeine pretty fast, so that explains why I drink so much coffee.
We all have some kind of addiction,
So.
And how many kids do you have, Bracha?
6 grown children.
Oh my God, I'm the youngest of 6.
Wow. Amazing. Wow.
So do you how many daughters and sons do you have?
We have bookend boys. Yeah.
So I have 4 sisters and a brother.
Oh, same thing. Oh my gosh. Woohoo. Woohoo. Amazing.
Yes.
But here's the most
big family.
Yeah, the most amazing part is we just had our 36th grandchild born this week.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Incredible. Congrats.
That is really amazing. I can't believe it. Yes. So it's really, really beautiful. Thank God.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now I'm the oldest of 4, and there are 5 grandchildren for my parents.
Wow.
So relatively small family.
Still big, Bill.
Yeah, bigger than some.
Yeah.
Bigger than some, exactly. So,
But,
yeah, we're all very blessed. Very, very blessed.
Are they all in Israel or?
No, only our youngest daughter lives in Israel, and all the others are across the United States, in Arizona, in Texas, in New Jersey, and in Maryland.
My family is all over Europe, and me and my sister in England.
Wow.
And here I have my sister, my niece. Then I just had my niece from Switzerland, where I have my elder sister in Switzerland. The other one is in Slovenia, and the other one is in Croatia. And my brother is in Macedonia.
Oh my goodness, fascinating.
Yes.
How about you, Bill?
Oh, let's see. My sister and her family are in Georgia on the east coast of the United States. My just younger brother is he and his family are in Oklahoma, which is about in the middle. And then a little north of them, my youngest brother and his family and my parents live in Missouri.
Wow.
So yeah, so we spread across the states. My sister on the East Coast and I on the West.
Yes. And then they're in between.
It gives you a reason to travel.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
hope to see them all again pretty soon. It's been a while.
God willing.
Yep. But yeah, yeah. At least we don't have the international calling rates to deal with.
Yes. All
We all know
gone
the
now.
pain of that.
Yes. So different now.
So
The way that we
what's,
communicate, it's amazing.
Mhm.
Yes. What?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. So what's next on your agenda? Another book or what?
Yeah,
Bracha?
me. I just came out with a book this week.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and we're doing animations and we're doing audio books. And I'm also writing video scripts. Yeah,
Very
I'm
cool.
really, yeah, I'm very. Oh, I didn't tell you about this. Do you know about Kabbalah, about the wisdom of the Kabbalah? Yes.
I studied it
So
for
I've
10 years,
heard.
Bracha.
amazing. Amazing. So this is one of the things I learned is about the pleasure ladder. The
Yeah.
different levels of pleasure, there's 5 rungs corresponding to the 5 levels of the human soul. So, and I think also corresponding to our 5 fingers, because we could bring pleasure into our lives at any moment. The lowest level is the physical, all the natural physical pleasures, you know, and they uplift both our body and our soul, because the lowest level of the soul is connected to the body. And then comes love. Each is a more lasting pleasure. Love, you know, how is it empowering? It's because it's when we focus on the virtues of another, that's when we bring love into our life. And then doing something meaningful, a more lasting pleasure. And that's what you said. No, creativity, that's what brought this up. It's such a high. You know, we don't feel like eating or sleeping when we're in that creative zone. It's like the second highest joy. To the highest one of all, of transcendence, is breaking through an addiction, you know, transcending our own limitations and recognizing again how we're all connected, that it's that same source energy, that highest oneness. That highest oneness is the greatest pleasure of all. So each level up, and we say there's only one price to pay to climb the pleasure ladder, and that's gratitude. It's gratitude that helps us get to each rung on the pleasure ladder. So
I've often taught people that they should wake up every day and create a gratitude list.
Yeah.
Write down 10 things you're thankful for, and it can be the same things you were thankful for yesterday. It doesn't matter, or it can be 10 new things, or anywhere in between.
Yeah.
You just have to be grateful for something and make it real by writing it down. And
Yes.
You're the eye of my gratitude journal, Bill, from the first moment we met. I've been doing this since 2008.
Wow.
And I keep a record of all the people who came into my life, both people who challenged me and people who supported me. I keep that gratitude journal and the lessons learned.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about. It's that simple.
Yes. It's one of the greatest healers. And, you know, the methods that I've developed, Bracha, is pretty much to people bring the perceptions into a grateful state.
Yes, yes, yes. Exactly. I had a feeling that's exactly what you were doing. Getting it aligning with the divine energy. Yes.
Full alignment.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Because we tend to resonate more to left or right, which means If we had too much pain in our life, we will tend to resonate more towards pain. And therefore, our
Yes.
expectation is more towards pain. And therefore, many events that happens to us, we associate more pain than pleasure.
Yes.
So in bringing people through the methodology, I take them to a state of equanimity, state of
Yes.
gratitude, love and gratitude.
Yes.
The two biggest
Beautiful.
healers.
Yes.
Yep.
So happy. I gotta go, guys, but
Okay.
I have so loved being here with you. You can't imagine. So grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Bracha. It's been a pleasure. And then
Thank
Tony,
you.
I was going to ask you what your next big
I'll
thing
wait.
is.
I'll
You're the
wait-
world
I'll
traveler.
wait for that.
Yes, I mean, pretty much now marketing a path to excellence. But while I'm marketing this, I already started my next book called Climb Greater Heights. And it's
Okay.
about the processes that I've been using for the last 12 years to help people reach to 100 million and a billion. And
Nice.
pretty much to take people from where they are. It's a 12-step process, and my birthday is 12 as well. So number 12 has a higher number of meaning for many things, and to take them from purpose to philanthropy.
Okay.
And also I've launched my new documentary now, and
Right.
pretty much I'm putting that out there because it's for specific people that I'm taking only 6 people on board for the entire year, that I take them through the program, and then I turn their transformational journey into a unique documentary film. So that's called
Wow. It's called what?
Into Your Divinity, and each episode will have its own subtitle. So it's going to be a documentary film about unique clients that we started now marketing that, bringing them on board, and I have a process that I take them through. I have a film crew with me, we film that, and then I help them build their authority, their credibility, sell their products, their services, while they're making good for humanity. And also pretty much I already have 2 documentaries. One is called Living My Illusion, which won almost like 20 global film awards, which I did it in partnership with another client who had their technology company. So pretty much now I'm creating Into Your Divinity as another product for people who want to step up and serve more people.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, the websites are tonyselimi.com and getbookshop.com. And before we go, do you find people have anything else to say to the nice people out there?
I love you and thank you.
Beautiful. This was such a joy. Really, can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Well, I love you and thank you too. And thank you all for tuning in. And be safe out there. Remember to wash your hands and stay tuned for the ending credits.
And waka 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 with the Lord.
Always.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for tuning in. This has been a presentation of Bald Spots Productions. I'd like to thank my producer, my beloved mother, Eileen Hatch. I, of course, am your humble host.
I'd really like to thank my Ed McMahon, Rudy Corlew.
Yes.
I'd especially like to thank my special guests, Tony Jeton Selimi and Bracha Goetz. Yay!
Support the show if you feel so led. Over on patreon.com, we're known as Bald Spots Pro. Don't you dare miss YWL Online. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever fine podcasts are offered.
Tune in next time when my guests will be author and creator of the Aha Moment, Janice Fletcher, and sci-fi author and CEO of the human performance improvement company, Boundary Layer Inc., Pat Daly.
Please be sure to like, comment, and share. Subscribe, follow, whatever it is you've got to do to kick that algorithm into gear and help us reach more people. That is the point, after all. If you or someone you know needs support now, call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. 988 is the suicide and mental crisis lifeline here in the States.